There was a time Lusaka was bombed.
Hmm?
But I would go into the streets of our capital cities. Ask Zambians, we are the only nation in Southern Africa which still uses typewriters to make its national ID. The thing that will always change in this country, I'll tell you, Mary, is the currency.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that every government that has come in has changed?
Yeah, they've changed.
No, this kwacha, no, we must remove the ego. No, we must put this.
Do you believe it's a leadership problem?
But the Eurobonds were money that was given to Zambia from the European community. That money came into Zambia. After it arrived in Zambia, it was used for. Tell you where that name came from.
Mm-hmm.
The name of Bali. People don't even know where it came from.
Why do we keep borrowing when we have so many resources? We have so many natural resources that we can use and export. Why do leaders keep borrowing?
Mr. Daniel Mukwembwe came out and said, look, let me not waste your time, friends, and I'll tell you the truth, and the truth is that I'm in politics to eat. There are people that only regard politicians as heroes in this country. The only heroes we respect their politicians. Go around our country, look at the toll gates. Most of those toll gates are named after politicians. Mineral-rich land with emeralds was sold in 1997. And the people in Ufanyama do not even have any concrete benefits. They invited me some time back and they asked that I become vice president of this political party. I declined that offer. He's a friend of mine.
Those are things some of us we don't even know about. We're not aware as the Gen Zs. Let's say today you're given that mandate, like today right now, as president of Zambia. What are you doing differently? What policies are you changing? What are you introducing? And how are you uniting this nation?
Young Zambians in our schools. Instead, what do we teach them? We teach them about Benito Mussolini. We teach them about Hitler. 16 Southern African countries, they send $2 billion every single month to the UAE to buy oil. And then what happens? They use that money. The Arabs use that money, they beautify Dubai, they make it one of the most beautiful looking places. And then we leave our capital cities again and fly to Dubai and wonder how Dubai became so big.
What's the driving force behind everything that you do? Hi guys, welcome to Gen Z Podcast. We are back again with another epic episode. Welcome to Young People in Politics, where real talk meets the Gen Z energy. Now today, I have Joseph Kalimbwe in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Kalimbwe is a Pan-Africanist, he's an author, he's a change maker, he's an aspiring member of parliament, Yeah, so Joseph, welcome to Gen Z Podcast.
It's always an honor, Mary, to be with you, to speak with you, and to engage particularly with so many viewers that I believe are going to watch your podcasts and the people that you've invited and us. So it's always an honor to speak with young people, particularly on issues that have to do with Zambia, the state of our affairs of our nation, the politics.
Yes.
It's always an honor to be here and to engage with you.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us. I'm sure the Gen Zs are happy. Yeah, we would love to know more about you, Joseph. Who is Joseph? Where did you grow up from? Yeah, basically that. Let's start from there.
So I was born in Sesheke. I was born in a place called Zambezi Sawmills. It's about, I think, 10-15 minutes drive out of the Sesheke CBD. My mother was a teacher at that school. So I started my primary school there, grade 1 to grade 7. And then after that, unfortunately, my mom passed. I think that was I was around 11 years old. And then I moved to Ndola. So I got an extraordinarily wonderful uncle that has raised me alongside my aunts that took the responsibility of being my parents, and they did it very, very, very exemplary. And I moved to Ndola. I did my grade 8 and 9 at Northrise Primary in Ndola. I did my high school in Ndola, at Chifu Secondary, and then after that, I remember after I finished high school, I was working in the streets of Ndola. I was selling cell phones for Zamtel. So by then it was called Lab Green. It has just been bought. It was that time when Rupia Banda was in office. And SATA came on. I remember SATA was incredibly popular on the Copper Belt. I just won an election with a landslide. So I was selling on the streets of Ndola. It was that moment that I got to realize the behavior of Zambians. Because I was merely a 17-year-old, and you have some people from where you come from. I was raised in North Rise in Dollar. Some people you greet them and then they don't return the greeting because they feel somebody that is on the street is a caponia, as we call it, and they don't see the need to associate with that person. But look, I was barely a 17-year-old, fresh from high school, and I learned the lessons that I believe I learned in that moment. On the streets are things that I never could have learned in a university lecture. So I spent time there, and then Michael Sata, by then the PF and the MMD were still fighting with each other towards the power of our country.
Yeah.
And then Michael Sata, his movement had spread across our towns on the Copper Belt. In Ndola, for instance, Ndola Central, we had Chifuvu, go to Kitwe, to Ndola, to Chingola. Michael Sata had done a lot of work. So I learned through those moments the politics that they were doing, I could see. And then after I left the streets, by the way, I was not on the street because I wanted money to feed my people at home.
Yeah.
My parents were doing quite well for themselves. They built something that has helped myself and my brother and everyone else. They took me to school after that. I went to the University of Namibia where I studied political science.
Was you being in the streets the reason why you being in the streets and then looking at the Michael Chilupe Sata, the Rupiah Bandas of that day, looking at how they were doing their politics and how things were being done? Was that the reason why you sort of like decided to, I want to be a politician?
Of course. I joined UPND during that moment. That was 2011. So basically, almost half of my life, I've been in and out of these formations. So we could see what Michael Sata was doing. This is a man that was called mad, uneducated, and all these things. But he had managed to mobilize a political party that was sweeping across our country. And when we saw the election tension that was happening in 2011, and you're on the street, we go around Ndola, the whole city. I moved around it and would meet people, and then they were just galvanized by this Michael Sata's patriotic front. And when we were seeing that, we got interested to say, okay, what does this man stand for? Yeah. And then there was also Rupiah Banda on the other end. Rupiah Banda was, in some way, I would call him a transformative leader that was like a bridge after the death of President Mwanawasa. So what we saw there in the streets, gave us a motivation and courage to get involved. I remember I asked one of my friends to say, no, but this guy has won the election now, is incredibly popular in the province. See, the Copper Belt is like the bedrock of Zambian politics. Yeah. Everything happens and people mobilize each other. So I went to a friend of mine and then said, let's join this politics thing, because it sounds very interesting. People are moving around in the streets with the boats, they are dancing and all these things. Yeah, we felt the need to get involved. But then instead of joining Michael Sata's PF, I went to join the UPND. Okay. The friend of mine, and we went to say, but where can we join? We went to the UPND offices in Dola. I remember in that moment, there was this one old man. So when we were in Dola, there's a place called there's a filling station called Boju as you go towards down to Chisokone Market. So we had gone there, and we met this old man. I think he was supporting Rupiah Band. So I'm young with a friend of mine, and then a friend of mine frustrated the old man because they're talking about how Rupiah Band has lost. Now as a senior citizen, he didn't like that. So I'm sitting behind, and then my friend is on the side of the door. So he starts to speak about how Rupiah Band has lost, and this man is like a patriotic MMD supporter. And then he gets very furious. After getting very furious, a friend of mine jumps and runs out. So I'm remaining now with the old man, and he starts to beat me. He beat me up, and then some people came to separate us, but I could see the passion that he had for the MMD. So it made us join the politics. We joined the UPND. We went to the office. We got some membership cards. I think by then we had bought that membership card in 2011. I think that was about for about 3 kwacha or so.
Oh, wow.
It was 3,000 kwacha at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then throughout those years, we learned the ins and the downs I could see of Zambian politics, what happened, and then we decided to get involved. Even before I could go to the university, my mind was in the state of
Was
wanting
ready
to lead, to say we
lead,
can
to
provide
say-
some sort of like political leadership.
And that's the reason I decided to do political science.
Of course,
Yeah.
I went there. Like I said, my parents were quite fortunate because they had given me a chance in that moment actually to even be on the street. They would have refused
Yes.
to say maybe you're humiliating us, you're embarrassing us, you're making it look like we don't feed you at home and all these things.
Yeah.
But they allowed it.
Mm-hmm.
I went there and then I studied, and then I decided to join student politics. And then when I joined student politics, that is in Namibia, the University of Namibia. We have Namibians who are the majority.
Yes.
And we have Zambians who are like a small percentage. I think there are about 600 Zambians then. There are Zimbabweans, others from different parts of the continent. And so even when I joined student politics, there were people that said, no, we are not going to win this thing because look, man, you are from Zambia. This is the University of Namibia. Who is going to vote for you? But then I was determined to say, look, we can be able to change certain narrative. So before I could even join, I had already made the background works to such an extent that I had noticed there was one vacuum that was existing, whereby Zambians would leave Zambia and go to Windhoek. And then they begin to play amongst themselves. And then I thought, no, this is not correct. You're a group of Zambians from Zambia, from Lusaka, from the Copper Belt. You go to Namibia, the University of Namibia, and all your friends are only from Zambia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but guys, this is not the way. I noticed that from even my seniors, and like, no, this is not the way. So I began to integrate myself within the Namibian community, with the Namibians. They welcomed me, they showed me love, they made me feel like I'm one of their own. So even when a time came that I announced that I wanted to contest to become the president of the Student Union of Namibia, it's called the SRC there. They didn't see any need to look at me as somebody that came from another place. No, they felt like I'm one of their own. Even now, they still show me love. They count me as one of their own. Because of that integration, we've always felt like we're together, and it's something that helped me to win that election. Even beyond, I felt that it was important. So even when Zambians began to see, but how did this Zambian manage to become president of this thing?
Yeah.
So they were shocked. Because one, they didn't anticipate that one of their own can become the student union president, leading about, I think, 30,000 students. But then I made them understand to say, look, guys, we've come from another place. Now we are here. We must integrate. We must be together. We must mix. We must unite. And so we built a team of concrete young people that we could be able to fight with towards the needs of the students.
Let's talk about your leadership at the University of Namibia. Yeah, we saw you guys, from what I read.
Yeah.
You broke into the dining.
Yeah.
You once got arrested and things like that. How was that, and why did you do that?
Well, I would say going to the University of Namibia was one of the best decisions that I and my parents made, because it opened my doors. I could see things from a broader narrative. And even now, I didn't just go there to get educated. It gave me networks of people from different aspects, from politics and business and all these things. And so it was, I'm a very proud product of the University of Namibia, and I carry it with me in my heart. We joined student politics having seen what was happening in the lives of students. We had students that were coming from different places, and they were struggling to find transport to get to campus. Unlike Lusaka, Windhoek is quite different. So when we saw what was happening, from my experiences in the streets in Dola, I felt that we could be able to play a role in championing the struggles of the students. So we joined that, and after I was elected to the presidency of the Student Union, we started to now fight for issues of fees. Because we felt, some students came from poor backgrounds. Some of them did not have loans or bursaries from the university, rather from the government, and they were in some ways being excluded to such an extent that when it's time for exams, they are told that if you're owing, you're not going to write the exams. And so we thought that was something that can be resolved, because I believe it's like the constitution. A constitution is made by human beings, therefore it can be fixed by human beings. So if there's a human error, human beings must use their sympathy to be able to fix those issues. So you can't lock the door and say these students cannot write an exam because they owe a certain amount of money. And so we went out and we championed those issues. We had issues now of study centers, so we are going to break into into a study cafeteria, and a lot of politics now began. We were a team in the student council, I think about 15 or so. When we did that, the police were called, and a lot of commotion now began to happen, and I was arrested, and there was commotion on campus. I remember, I think at that moment, it was 4 a.m. in the morning. The students had gone to block the main campus, and the police came, the gunshots fired and other things. But then I learned valuable lessons from there, because we created a network of people, not just at the institution at the University of Namibia, but beyond. On the African continent, we're also seeing what was happening at VITS in SA. And we're creating networks with those guys to say, guys, it's not just about student politics. Now we should go beyond and engage in youth politics, in national politics. But coming back home, Zambia and Namibia are totally different political dynamics. In that, here in Zambia, we are not a nation that accommodates younger views. We believe young people must be used to a larger extent on the street rather than in the national politics where they make decisions. In Namibia, for instance, some of the people that I was with at the University of Namibia are in parliament. These are our age mates. One of them is a minister. These are people that we are with in the Students' Union. But in a Zambian narrative, young people are only used to cause commotion in politics. Go and become cadres and do this and this. Go and cause confusion in this constituency. Go and cause mayhem and all these things. We are not a nation that accommodates and appreciates bright ideas. And these are the things that I now speak about, even beyond. When I speak about them on social media, people say, no, parliament patriotic is not very patriotic. And then we're like, look, guys, when we speak about these issues in our country, it's not that we're not patriotic. These are long-held problems that need to be fixed. I was speaking about issues of minds. Yes. I was speaking about issues of our national ID, the NRC. And then, people are coming and they're saying all sorts of things. But I told myself to say, no, over time, Zambians are going to appreciate that which we stand for. They might not look at it now, but over a period of time, they will appreciate that, look, we're the only nation in Southern Africa which still uses typewriters to make its national ID. We're still typing our NRC on typewriters in 2025. This is 25 years after a new century. Yeah. Our ID can be made in black and white. So you see, the most important document a citizen can have is the NRC. Yeah. And if it's not protected, anybody can be able to accumulate it. They can just buy themselves a typewriter, get the right paper, and then tomorrow you're a Zambian citizen, even if you come from Papua New Guinea. So those are the issues that we are speaking about, to say, you guys, let's resolve these issues. This is the problem that has been existing since 1964. Let's change it. The only thing that we always change in this country, I'll tell you, Mary, is the currency. Yeah. Have you noticed that every government that has come in has changed? Yeah, they've changed. No, this kwacha, no, we must remove the ego. No, we must put this. MMD did that. PF did that. In the PF, we had the people that were printing Zambian money were called Thomas Deraru from London. So they print the money, the Zambian kwacha in London, then the money is shipped here to Zambia, and then Zambians will begin to use it. So the PF changed the Zambian kwacha. The MMD did that. The UPND has done that. But we have never seen the reason to fix some of these issues that have been happening for a long period of time. The NRC, the issues of what is happening in our mining sector. For instance, I was speaking about this a few days ago, where we've got a company called BHL. BHL is owned by a family from Stellenbosch, from the Western Cape. It's one of the biggest transporters of Zambian copper at the moment. I think it transports about 70% of Zambian copper from the biggest mines, which is Kansanshi and Kalumbila. The Zambians, the only involvement that Zambians have in that chain is to become truck drivers. So the copper itself is being mined by foreign entities. I'll tell you, for instance, Kalumbila is 100% owned by Canadians. Lumwana, 100% owned by Canadians. When it comes to the value chain, it's the only involvement of Zambians to become truck drivers. Because now BHL, which is owned by, is it the Van Bauk family in the Western Cape, is the one that is transporting the copper. And the argument that we are giving is that, look, comrades, if we cannot own our mines, we cannot be in a situation where even the transportation of our minerals is being done by foreign entities.
Yeah.
Let's get that chance. BHO has been doing that since 2012. That is about, I would say, roughly about 15, 16 years ago. More than that. And the involvement of Zambians to do what? To drive the trucks. And what we are saying is when those trucks move through our Zambian roads, for instance, when you go to Kalumbila, when you go to Kansanshi, if you use that road that passes through Kasempa to go to the Namibian border, you're only going to encounter, I think, 1 to 2 toll gates. There's a toll gate between, I think, Solwezi and Mutanda. Then after that, I believe there's a toll gate in Mungu somewhere there. So those are the toll gates that they encounter. And on each toll gate, they're paying 500 kwacha. So if there are 2 toll gates, they'll pay 1,000 kwacha. 1,000 kwacha is an equivalent of about 42 US dollars. Now each truck is carrying a truckload of about 400,000 US dollars. The copper that is on that. And then we are getting 40 kwacha, 40 US dollars from 400,000. So that 40 US dollar equates to about 1.2%. No, not even 1.2%. What I'm saying then is that if these guys are carrying that amount of copper with 400,000, why can we not tax them to say, guys, instead of paying this 500 kwacha things at the toll gates, give us 5,000 US dollars per each truckload. When we calculate that 5,000 US dollars, we are going to have about, if there are 20 trucks in a day, the state, Zambia Revenue Authority is going to get about 100,000 US dollars each day, which will equate to about $3 million in a month. Now, when those trucks are moving on our roads are getting damaged every single day. That road from Kazungula to Sesheke is damaged beyond repair for the past almost 10 years. After it got damaged, those trucks no longer move on that road. Now they move on the Solwezi Kasempa road to Mungu, and then they come through behind Senanga to the Katimamulilo border. Now, who is going to fix those roads? It's us, the Zambian taxpayer. The money that we are supposed to use to build a maternity wing in Isoka, the money that we are supposed to use to ensure that Zambian kids in Chipata or in Lundazi have a better education, will then be channeled towards payment of a loan. Because we're such a poor nation to such an extent that even when it comes to constructing roads, we get loans. Yeah. That is the reality that we live in. So when we get that loan, it has to be repaid back. It's you and I that are a bit younger that are going to repay that loan.
Do you believe it's a leadership problem?
Well, in our nation, we have had so many presidents. We've had presidents since Kaunda, there was Chiluba, and everyone else that has come in. In 2012, I'll tell you, for instance, we used to get what was called Eurobonds. You must go and watch what Professor Clive Chirwa was saying in one podcast with, I think that was Shosta or Kane or something, I've forgotten. But the Eurobonds were monies that was given to Zambia from the European community. That money came into Zambia. After it arrived in Zambia, it was used for political activities, part of it. We borrowed money so we can fix the Zambia railways. Money came in, and then part of it was used to buy regalia for political parties. And that money now has to be paid. You repay back the loan. We had under Mwanawasa what was called HIPIC, highly indebted poor countries. And we were a member of that because we had applied to say, guys, we cannot pay back this loan, so write them off. So we went and applied to become a HIPIC nation, a highly indebted poor country. Under Mwanawasa, I think that was 2003. And then our loans were written off. Then over time, we began to again accumulate loans. We want to construct a road from Chinsali, for instance, to Luwingu, to Ayapoka loan. We want to build a hospital. We want to build a university that was being constructed, I think, in Muchinga. We get a loan. We get a loan, that university is built up to window level, nothing happens.
Yeah, I think I know it.
Yes. The constructor runs away. Who gets affected? It's the Zambians. Why? Because Zambians are going to be taxed. They have to find money. And in the process of being taxed, they have to pay back that loan. We have a bridge in Western Province called the Katimamulilo Bridge. That bridge was funded by the German government. Zambia was given a loan by the Germans because we had at that moment just been declared a highly indebted poor country as HIPIC. So that loan that was given by the Germans, it had to be paid back. We have a bridge called, I think the Mwanawasa Bridge in Chembe, somewhere in the northern parts of our country. Part of all those constructions have to be paid back. Even now, the main airport that we use, we had to take a loan. But in many cases, when we take these loans, you find that money has been taken. The moment the money arrives in Zambia, part of it is being channeled towards the political party.
Okay, let me just ask this. Why do we keep borrowing when we have so many resources? We have so many natural resources that we can use and export. Why do leaders keep borrowing?
Well, we have been around for quite a number of years now, and that is why we thought it is important that now we must contest and go to parliament. And it's not just me, there's a whole lot of young people of ideas and intellect that believe we can participate in the national affairs of our nation at the National Assembly level. And what we are saying is that we shouldn't just claim to want to go to parliament because we want to use age as a smokescreen.
Yeah.
It's because we believe we've got the ideas and the intellect to be able to debate in the parliamentary standing committees, in the House, on the floor of the House, and engage towards the issues that matter. But the leadership in our country for so many years, we had a politician called Daniel Mkombwe from Southern Province. We had also a politician called Stephen Katuka from Northern Province. You know what? Rather, his name was Stephen Mukuka. Mr. Stephen Katuka is one who was the SG. The person that I'm describing was Stephen Mukuka. Mr. Stephen Mukuka was the minister in Mwanawasa's government, was from the Northern Province. He had said during the time that our nation had made a decision, I'm not sure if you're aware, I speak about this also too often. There's a piece of land on the Copper Belt called the Ndola Rural Emerald Restricted Area. That piece of land was sold to an Israeli-Indian consortium. It was about 24 kilometers. So that 24-kilometer piece of land was fenced off. It is now become a restricted area. Nobody's supposed to settle there because it's got emeralds. Many Zambians don't even get to understand these things because there's so many things in our politics that we are so much united in insulting this one. This one is stupid. This one is not speaking things in the right way. This one is what. But we don't conscientize Zambians about the issues that happen in our nation. So that land was sold to an Israeli-Indian consortium called the Agura. The negotiations, I think, had begun around 1997. Now it still exists, called the Ndora Rural Emerald. Yeah, Ndora Rural Emerald Restricted Area. Now, Mr. Stephen Mukuka was a minister. He had gone to parliament on the floor of the House to say it was one of the best deals that Zambia signed. And I believe some of the things we must be able to relook them. That same land is where now Kagem exists. You know, it's an emerald-rich area. stretches through the Kafuvu River, goes around, I think it goes almost between Ndola, Kitwe, and Lufwanyama, 24 kilometers. Agura bought that piece of land. It's now restricted. Zambians are not allowed to set on it. It's now being run by, I think there's Kagem, and then there's another mine that is owned by Mr. Gunase, the Senegalese guy that is a major miner in terms of emeralds on our copper belt. So Mr. Stephen Mukuka at that moment went to Parliament and said it was one of the best deals that were signed. We had also Mr. Daniel Munkombwe. Mr. Daniel Munkombwe was a minister, I think his politics began way back in the UNIP era. He was a minister in MMD. See, Mr. Daniel Munkombwe came out and said, look, let me not waste your time, friends, and I'll tell you the truth, and the truth is that I'm in politics to eat. That was his argument.
Wow.
We are in a nation now, I'll tell you, Mary. Maybe perhaps you've never looked at it. We are people that only regard politicians as heroes in this country. The only heroes we respect are politicians. Go around our country, look at the toll gates. Most of those toll gates are named after politicians. Daniel Mukombwe, Humphrey, Kebi Msokotwane, all of them are politicians. So you can't tell me that in a nation where we've got sports heroes, we've got people that have helped move us forward, the only heroes that we can recognize are politicians. We should go beyond that. We have people that helped us win the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations, for the very first time in our history. They have never been recognized. All our airports, our major roads, and all these things are named after politicians. So are we saying the only heroes that we have in this nation are politicians? So we must find a common background. We must find common consensus. And that is what we are saying also as young people. We shouldn't just say we want to contest for parliament because we are young, but because we think we can be able to correct some of the wrongs that were done. What happened in the signing of the Agura Agreement, where we sold 24 kilometers of land to an Israeli-Indian consortium. What was found now on that land, since it was sold, I think, around 1997, is the two major biggest emeralds were discovered on that land. I don't know if you've observed. The first one that was discovered is called, I think, Chipelembe something, emerald. The second one was called Insof. They were discovered around Lufwanyama. After being discovered, those emeralds were flown out of our country. You must go and research. I don't know that sometimes when I say things, people come and say, no, it's a lie. Hey, what? They don't even go and have their own background. Go and research. No, Kalimbwe is lying. What is the truth? No, they just come and say, no, it's lying. Hey, no, this is not true. No, this is this. That's what they say. The Zambians, they're on social. Go and check on my Facebook. Even now, there are people that always say, no, he's lying. He's not saying the truth. But what I tell them is like, bring the truth and argue with my lies.
Yes.
You see? So there are two major stones, emerald, that were discovered in that same stretch of land that I mentioned, Doraruro Emerald Restricted Area. Now it's Kagem that discovered them. The first one is, I think, Chipelembe, something like that. The second one is called Insof. They are the biggest now emeralds in the world, those stones. And this is information that so many Zambians don't get to even read about and understand. And that is what we are saying. We must go to parliament and debate on these issues on the floor of the house. Yeah. The first emerald that was discovered was flown out of Zambia to Israel. The second, I think that was 2019. The second one, I think in 2022, Insof was also flown out of Zambia to Israel. So it's being stored in Israel with the hope that once the pricing goes up, they sell it. Go to Lufwanyama right now and see the CBD of Lufwanyama. That is the place where we sold 24 kilometers of land, mineral-rich land with emeralds. Wow. Was sold in 1997. And the people in Lufwanyama do not even have any concrete benefits. And this has got nothing to do with political parties that have come and gone. It's a national thing that we must embrace as Zambians. To say, look, parties have come and gone, our nation has remained. Therefore, our nation must be developed. we had in 1969 what was called the material reforms material declarations by President Kaunda. The material declarations had championed for Zambia to have 51% shares in major mines. At the moment, the shares that we have in Zambia are being held by ZCCM HI. And those shares, I would tell you, for instance, in Kansanshi, I think we have about 20% or 25%. In Kalumbira, I've got 0% shares.
Wow.
In Lumwana, I've got 0% shares. What has our country benefited in terms of pure development? On top of having 0% shares, the major transporters are from the Western Cape. A Zambian company, even if it had the capacity, would not be permitted to go and transport the biggest and the most important minerals in Canada or in South Africa. But in our example, we've allowed it. And part of the reason is that we're a nation that disregards history. Politics must be played in such a way that we listen even to those that we disagree with.
Yeah.
That is what we are intent to do. At the moment, we're talking to a lot of players because we intend to go to parliament. A lot of friends and comrades who are already in parliament, who are outside, in the party, outside the party. We're talking to a number of friends. There was one that had invited me some time back and asked that I become vice president of his political party. I declined that offer. He's a friend of mine. Because I said, look, I've been in the UPNG for all these years.
And
I believed in the UPNG for all these years. I don't agree with your views. You're a good friend, you're a good brother.
But I don't agree with your views.
There's also one friend of mine whose views I agree with. In terms of mining, he's a member of parliament, the things that he stands for. We agree on a number of issues. We were saying, comrades, let's come together for the benefit of our country.
Yes.
Because we believe that Zambia will always remain. Presidents have come and gone. Our nation has always remained. We must be able to build a Zambia that is strong, steady, and able to stand on its own 2 feet. And part of doing that is that we must mentor the next generation of Zambian leaders. Give them the platform. Don't just put them in the streets so that they become cadres. Give them a chance to go to parliament. Namibia is doing that. Give them a chance to become ministers. Botswana is doing that. Our age mates are ministers there. In our example, we're saying young people are too immature to go to parliament.
Which is not true.
At the moment, we're having an issue where we've got one of our former presidents who is still sleeping in the mortuary. I'll tell you with the facts, I never agreed with President Lungu. I believed his politics were not uniting our country. I believe the policies that he pursued were not for the benefit of our country. I believe that not because of my stance in the UPND, but because I saw how he was leading.
Yeah.
But in time of death, we must be able to put that aside. As Zambians, we come together collectively. I was a small boy when Mwanawasa died in 2008. But I saw Zambians come together. We called him all sorts of names. He's a cabbage. He's got no ideas. He's speech impaired. He can't speak correctly. But when Mwanawasa died, the nation united to mourn one of its own. I was a small boy when we were seeing, people were lining up the street to ensure that they pay their last respects to President Mwanawasa. The same applies to President Lungu. We've had these differences. We've had issues with him. But he once held the highest office in the land.
Yes.
The Zambia army that once saluted him must offer its very last salute to him as a former commander-in-chief. And we bury him with the respect and the honor that he deserves. Here on our land, here on our soil. But we cannot be able to do that when we constantly demonize each other. No, that camp is wrong. This camp is right. That one is talking this. That one is talking that. We must come together. The only thing that has united us in this nation has always been death.
Yeah.
When one of our own dies in Zambia, we come together. From major different cities, a relative dies, we come and even sleep at the funeral house.
Yeah.
Death has united. But in this moment, death has failed to unite us.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yeah. Joseph, you've spoken about some of the the history, our minds being sought. So those are things some of us we don't even know about. We're not aware as the Gen Zs. Let's say today you're given that mandate, like today, right now, as president of Zambia. What are you doing differently? What policies are you changing? What are you introducing? And how are you uniting this nation?
Well, I'm not in any way in that position.
No,
Like I
like
said,
let's
like I said,
hypothetical.
we've got friends and comrades that we are trying to come together towards one common goal.
No,
What that we
hypothetically.
believe in. What is happening at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there are so many things that President Ichirema has done correct
Mm-hmm.
that Zambians must be able to applaud him.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many things that have also not been able to go in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many things that young Zambians, and not just young Zambians, Zambians in general,
Zambia's in
older
Nigeria.
Zambians do not know about where we've come from.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time Lusaka was bombed.
Hmm?
But I would go into the streets of our capital cities, ask Zambians about that. They'll tell you they don't know anything.
Even me, I don't know anything.
You are not the only one. Why? Because we are a country that has got complete disregard for its history in politics and even in our own human life.
Mm.
We had what was called the Freedom House in this Lusaka, city of Lusaka. That Freedom House had housed the headquarters of the ANC from South Africa. It had housed the headquarters of SWAPO from Namibia. It had housed the headquarters of ZAP and Frelimo from Mozambique. What happened? Instead of making it a historical place,
Mm-hmm.
instead of embracing that place, we sold it to the Indians who sell cell phones now in the building. In Lusaka. You can't marry yourself or any Zambian or me. We can't go to India and buy a house where Mahatma Gandhi used to live
Mm-hmm.
and begin to sell chikanda in there.
Mm-hmm.
Never. We'll
So
never allow.
this is the reason why I'm trying to argue. Is
But
it a
in
leadership problem?
In our example,
Mm-hmm.
we sell such a building that holds historical relevance to our nation.
Mm-hmm.
In 1978,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Lusaka.
Yeah.
Lusaka was bombed. There was issues between Zambia and Zimbabwe. And then there was an operation called Operation Gatling,
Mm-hmm.
where the Zimbabweans then, the leadership, the white leadership of Ian Smith, were arguing that Zambians are accommodating the people that are opposing us.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Zambia accommodating these people? They must let them go so they can come to our country and we lock them up.
Mm-hmm.
But Kenneth Kaunda took a stance to say, no, these are African brothers. Let them stay with us. If you look at the history, you will see that Zambia took a bullet for so many people in the region.
Yeah.
Others refused to accommodate liberation struggle icons, but we did. They lived in Lusaka, they spoke our language. Some of them even had girlfriends in Zambia. Some of them perhaps even left kids in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
They went to their nations and became presidents.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Zambia that we've always built.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
But wait,
nation
who
of
bombed?
people.
Who bombed Zambia?
So in 1978,
Mm-hmm.
there was what was called Operation Gatling,
Mm-hmm.
where the forces, the Rhodesia forces, dropped bombs in the province of Lusaka. If you go to Mfusa there,
Mm-hmm.
as you go to Eastern Province, bridges were destroyed because the bombs dropped. I think they dropped about 17 bombs.
Wow.
Ask the older Zambians that have been in existence for a while,
Mm-hmm.
that could remember what happened in 1970. They will tell you.
Mhm.
And what we are saying also is that in our politics, we must draw examples from where we've come from.
Yes.
We will learn from the mistakes that we have made before.
Mm-hmm.
In order for us to move Zambia forward, economically, politically, and socially.
Mm-hmm.
So when the nation was bombed,
Mm-hmm.
we've never gone to our history to correct that, to teach young Zambians in our history books. Instead, what we teach them? We teach them about Benito Mussolini. We teach them about Hitler. We don't teach them about the concentration camps that were set up in our nation.
Yeah.
I was in Tanzania in June.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to Tanzania, I visited a place called Ujiji. We learned about that in our history, where David Livingstone and
Mm-hmm.
has got 7 billion barrels of oil. We can be able to help in terms of setting up a refinery there.
Yeah.
We take advantage of the Lobito corridor. And then we use that oil. And the money that we are sending, now these 16 Southern African countries, they send $2 billion every single month to the UAE to buy oil. And then what happens? They use that money. The Arabs use that money. They beautify Dubai. They make it one of the most beautiful looking places. And then we leave our capital cities again and fly to Dubai and wonder how Dubai became so beautiful. But we don't know that the money that we are taking to go and buy oil is what they are using to beautify their city. If that money was rotating around the economies in Southern Africa, Zambia could benefit, Angola could benefit, Namibia could benefit. We could be able to benefit and build the same Dubai that we go to take our girlfriends and wives to go and have honeymoon. That is what we believe we can be able to bring forth. Take these issues.
So why are the Southern leaders not doing that? Is it lack of unity?
Well, I believe so. I believe so too. But in this case, I think it is important that we speak on a Zambian perspective.
Yeah.
Because look, Zambia has suffered a lot in terms of our contributions to the liberation. We are now in a situation, and there are people that make argument to say, no, we are done with that era where Zambia is taking care of other people. Now the economy that we must build should be our own.
Yes.
I agree with them. Because we are a nation that is going through a lot of issues. Shedding is killing our people.
Yeah.
We must fix that. We have issues of Zambians not having stable jobs, where you can be able to wake up in the morning and rely on the fact that at the end of the month you get a salary that can sustain you and the family members. Even if you are working, the salary will still be too low for you to sustain yourself.
Yeah.
So these are the issues that we believe must be done, and we must fix them. Part of fixing them is that we must listen even to those that we don't agree with. Somebody can be able to insult me, but if they've got something that I do not have in terms of intellectual mindset, I can be able to tap into it.
Yes, true.
That's what I believe in, and I believe we can be able to move our nation forward in that way.
Joseph, you've written books.
Yeah.
You've stood at rallies.
Yeah.
You've trended. Maybe actually not even maybe. You've gotten arrested before.
Yeah.
What's the driving force behind everything that you do?
Well, when I used to write books, but I stopped. I wrote 2 books. The first book that I wrote, I was, I think, in my first year at the University of Namibia. One thing that made me stop writing books is because, look, I realized even if you read books, nobody will read them. Young people they're not interested in reading. Even if you give them free books, they will still not read it.
They'll go and pack it.
Yeah, they'll still not read it. They would rather watch something on TikTok than spend time to go and read a book. And so we used to write. We had a column. We would write, hoping that through writing, we can be able to change the narrative, the political narrative of our people. The first book that I wrote, I remember, I wrote about my experience of what I saw in Rupiah Banda was president of this country. In Dola, as a child, we used to go to Chifugu High School, who is a township in Dola. So I used to live in North Rise, we go to Chifugu High School. Rupiah Banda came for a rally, and then he was talking about how he has made Zambia look like honey 2010. Zambia is now the best places to live in. By then we had what was called the credit crunch, where the market had crashed on the Wall Street in the US and the mines were affected and all these things. Rupiah Banda came and said, no, the Luancha copper mines had been taken, now the Luancha copper mines is back. And so through the experiences that we had from you write books and you try to tell a story and all these things, and then you realize that no, these guys they're not going to read. So now we said, no, there's an era of social media. Young people are mostly found on social media. Let's follow them where they are. I remember we had created then 2019 somewhere there. I used Twitter extensively to campaign for President Teaching.
Yeah.
We had created the UPND youth pages to champion the agenda, to speak to young people. This is what we need. This is what we believe we can do in terms of the economy. This is what we believe we can do in terms of the social caste transfer. This is what we believe we can do in terms of agriculture. This is how we can be able to move forward. The drive around these things have always been to say, look, we are a nation that has never lacked leadership. Each and every time, Zambians have stepped forward and taken the presidential role to lead our country. From the time of Kaunda to the time of Chiluba, when the MMD was being formed, I was not born. But through the books that we read and the stories that we heard, it was a strange time. Because there was one part state then, and Chiruba and his team, I think he was working at Atlas Copco then in Dola. He came, Nabanankwe, when Mwanawasa, they came here to Lusaka. They formed and they fought with MMG through the trade unions. So they had created some sort of like structures through the trade union.
Yeah.
And so even when they stood against President Kaunda, he had no chance. But also, what motivates me is the fact that I believe that Zambia still has a place to accommodate every Zambian dream. Whether you are born in a village or in a city, whether your parents are privileged or they're not privileged. Our nation has always had a space and that every dream can be accommodated. I believe my dreams can also be accommodated in a Zambia that is stable, that is able to stand on its own 2 feet, and that we can go to parliament, not because we believe we are young people, but because we believe we can shape the narrative. And not just shaping the narrative. We can do away with this politics that has always divided us.
Yeah.
Zambia has been divided to such an extent that we once stripped our founding father of his Zambian citizenship, President Kaunda, and accused him of not being Zambian enough. That toxic nature of politics has been transferred from one generation to another. When Mwanawasa and the Chiruba came in, those were friends. They came together from Dola. Mwanawasa got the reins of leadership, went after Chiruba, started going after each other, and then the others came. Sata came in, went after Rupia Banda, took his passport.
Yeah.
And then now those issues now of President Chichirema and President Lungu. So all these things, we must be able to have common consensus to say how do we build a nation that is strong and where every Zambian can feel included, and that we can move our country forward with those 4 proud words that we know that we always say in the national
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia,
One nation.
And after saying one Zambia, one nation, go after each other.
Yes.
Lock this one up, this one send him to prison.
Yeah.
That is what happened. I remember during the times of Chiruba and Kaunda, and it has continued.
Right. So you were the people behind Body Will Fix It in 2021. Great.
And I'll tell you where that name came from. The name of Bali. People don't even know where it came from. There was a young man from the University of Zambia on Twitter in 2020. I remember very well, very vividly, in April 2020. He was having an argument, a conversation, rather, not an argument, with the president of Twitter.
And the president of Zambia?
Yes, President Hichilema then. 2020 was in the opposition.
Yes.
This young man says, no, examinations are hard, I'm not understanding, you're speaking this Excel language.
Yes.
And then the president didn't understand, and he said, I understand. And then the boy responded and says, I see you're a Bali, maybe I must explain it proper English. So now the president asks, Bali, what do you mean by Bali? And then some people now get into the comments on Twitter there, and then they explain to him what Bali is. And he says, then I'm a Bali. And then the movement came from Twitter, went to Facebook. Everyone else now says Bali. But they don't even understand. The young man, I think his name is Chitembo or something.
Yeah.
Chitembo something on Twitter. That is the one that had coined that name of Bali to the president. We tried by every means to ensure that that thing now trends, and it went around. Now people that don't even know where it came from. I hope that that young man someday is going to participate in some way of helping our country move forward. I hope wherever he is, he's happy. He's happy. He's doing well. He brought a movement. I hope so.
Okay, so before we close, we are just going to do a rapid fire.
Yeah.
So this is under 60 seconds. So you have to answer these 5 questions under 60 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. So we go. You ready?
Yeah, of course. I hope I'll be as fast as I
yes,
can.
so I'm looking at time now.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go. The first protest you attended?
The first protest that I attended was at the University of Namibia.
One African leader you admire, dead or alive?
President Kaunda.
The worst advice someone ever gave you?
One person had advised me in 2024 when I went to look for a job at Star Bakery in Dola that I must claim to be from Chifubu when I was from Northern. So when I said I was from Chifubu, the Indian guy chased me and said, no, Chifubu is too far, so we can't give you a job. So I got wrong advice by one guy that I was with that was coming from Chifubu, and later claimed that he was from Northern himself, and he got a job.
Oh, wow. And you were from North
And I
Rise.
was from North Rise. I was tricked.
What is the most Zambian thing about you?
The most Zambian thing about me is like, I love the village. I was born in Sesheke. I always go there every December just to smell the village setup.
Okay. In one sentence, what does youth participation mean to you?
Youth participation means being on the table, discussing and engaging in issues that matter.
Great. Joseph, looking at the scene right now, the Zambian scene, there are voices of young people. Let young people go to parliament. Young people should be in parliament. Do you think Zambia is ready to hand over power to the young people?
Of course, we're not just saying they must hand over power exactly to young people. There must be a dimension, the old and the young.
Yeah.
You share ideas. Nobody holds the monopoly of wisdom,
Yes.
particularly political wisdom. You listen from the old that have done it before and the young that are learning and understanding and getting into the game. We share ideas. What wrong have you done? What wrong can we not do? What mistakes have been made before? What mistakes can we not make? So there must be a common consensus where we come together and share ideas to say the young and the old. I don't agree with this narrative that has been going on to say because we are young people we don't deserve to go to parliament. And then they're using our age as a smoke screen on which to project their views.
Yeah.
But I also understand them because they look at it from the ones that have been in parliament, the younger people, because they think, no, maybe this is not going right. We still give them a chance. But also we are saying, if you say young people don't have experience, the old have also had been in power for 61 years. They've had experience. How have they helped to solve our nation's problems?
Yes.
With their experience? They have not. So we must be able to bring in younger people, the older people. We mix, share ideas, and move our nation forward, just like you've always done over the past years. That is what I believe in.
To the Gen Z generation that are sort of like disconnected to political issues, because every single time you have a podcast like me sitting here, people will think I have interest in becoming a politician, but I just want to sit here and have a conversation with the future leaders and, you know, see the people that we want to vote for next year and put in power. What advice do you have for the younger generation?
Well, I think it is important that they must, even if they don't get actively involved in politics, they must have an interest.
Yes.
Well, these issues affect them. You can say politics, I don't want to get involved, but politics will still do you in your life. You can say whatever you want, I don't want to get involved, load shedding will still exist in your house. You can say whatever you want to say, no, I don't want to get involved in politics, and you might have a cousin that doesn't have a job. All those issues revolve around politics.
Politics, yeah.
So it is important that we get involved. Young people must get involved. We're not saying they must entirely participate and join political parties and all these things. That is up to them. But in terms of understanding what is happening in the country, knowing left and right, understanding that Zambia has come from a place of difficulty, and that we can be able to take it to a place where every dream can be accommodated, whether you're from Kanyama, whether you're from Ibex, whether you're from Chilenje, or you are coming from Chilanga, anywhere else, your dream can be accommodated. I believe that is what we must be able to do. But we must inspire those young people. Because some of them, the reasons why they don't get involved in politics is because they say, no,
yes.
So I must get involved with this toxic nature of what is happening. Maybe I'll also be arrested. But, in a natural way, in life, nothing comes easy. Parents, particularly African parents, want their children to live the best lives. But they don't want to see those children suffer to attain that which they want to attain. You want your child to become a CEO, to become a minister, but you're not willing to see your child suffer on that journey to achieve what they want. So we've had these issues. It's part of life. Getting arrested. The president has been arrested 15 times. Sata was arrested. In Zambia, it's like being arrested is the passport to the president. So people must be able to understand that these are issues that happen. We must endure. We must be strong in the game, and then only then can we be able to achieve that which we seek to achieve.
Yeah. Funny enough, we've not even spoken about Sesheke, but due to time, we'll come back. we'll have a
There are
discussion
a lot of
around.
conversation we're having about Sesheke, about Ndola, about
Yeah.
all these places.
Yeah.
I hope that you come and we are going to announce our constituency election and the constituency that we are going to be able to contest. I've got teams and friends in Ndola, I've got teams and friends in Sesheke. And going forward, we believe that it is important that we must go to parliament next year and champion these ideas of a Zambia that is stable and able to stand on its own two feet.
Great. An amazing episode with Joseph Kalimbwe. I hope you learned one or two things. Personally, I have learned a lot. Did you know that Lusaka was bombed? You don't know. Joseph, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, spending time on this podcast. We do really appreciate your time. We hope to have you soon.
Thank you.
Can they ask questions?
Of course, all the times.
Okay, guys. So if you have any questions for Joseph, and please look him up on Google, yeah? Just look him up and come back to this podcast. So, Joseph, thank you so much for coming through. Guys, until next time, bye.